Another thing I want you to realize too is once a bonding authorization is issued, unless it's repealed by legislature, it's still in action. I looked it up last year. We got bonding authorizations going back to 1990 for projects that are never issued because the project never happened, but they're still legally liable, the state is, and nobody's bothered to go back and clean up the old. I would say there's probably $600–700 million, I think it was, off the top of my head. I did that research last year. But I roughly that much money is sitting out there, legally obligated by the state for projects going back to 1990 that are never going to happen or may happen if somebody locally finds funding for the project. The state's still obligated to issue those bonds. Why are we carrying bond obligations 30 years on our books? But we are, and nobody's doing anything about it. We're out spending more money on bonding. So there's some questions to be asking at the state capitol.
Spending and taxing. That seems to be what they do best over there. And regulating.
Regulating.
Let's talk about regulating.
Oh, Sue.
We picked out a few bills that just in the last 2 days.
I went down there the last couple of days to sit in a few committee hearings, and like we said earlier, I think there was 14 or 17 bills that shoved through in 45 minutes. And some of the stuff, Sue, would put the hair stand on edge.
I just want to rip my hair out of my head when I think of some of these bills. Let's talk about the first one here. House File 2945.
Okay, it's very, it's the state building code is basically what's it, and it's modifying the building code to include this. This adds property maintenance codes and rental property codes to the building code. In other words, this local units of government want to control through, and they've tried through regionally and locally to control how your paint looks on your house. If your fence is dilapidated and so on and so forth, and
how high your grass can grow.
Right, those types of things. And they're trying to extend it into the state building code by just a little blurb by just saying these enforcement codes. So it doesn't look like much on the surface, but when I was at this hearing, the only people that were supporting this was all the cities, the counties, all the governmental organizations who have been pushing for these residential property maintenance codes and haven't been able to get them through locally because the citizens are on an uproar. Are you kidding me?
Of course the citizens are in an uproar. They should be when you have government coming in and telling you what you can do on your property.
Well, you know, what color your paint condition is on your house is an example. And I understand that we need to keep our places up. That's not what I'm talking about. If my place is dilapidated or my neighbors, I need to go over and say, hey neighbor, your place, you need $5, you want me to help you paint, whatever, but it's not the government, it's not the privy of the government to dictate when I paint my house and the quality of the goods and services that I use on my property. And that's basically what it is. It's an end around trying to get a statewide code. So that was one of them. And I'm sitting, and the only group that I was there that was against it was the Real Estate Agents Association, because they know if this passes, the people who are in trouble financially have to sell their home don't have the resources to go out and do this anyway.
Right.
They're unemployed or whatever the situation may be, and they don't have the revenue to go out and repaint their house, put a new fence up or whatever else.
And these are the kind of bills that I think people should be most worried about because they slide in under the radar. You're not going to read about bills like this in the Star Tribune. You're not going to hear about them on most radio shows. Okay, mine you will, but most you won't. In fact, now I'm going to talk about it on my show week after week after week because we have to expose the people that we've put in office for what they are. They're supporting big government. They are not looking out for we the people.
And real quickly, if you have any guests call you or talk to you about this that are representing this bill, they were very clear yesterday. Their intent is, under this RIBS program and other maintenance programs, the very clear intent is to force or allow the government to have use of force to cause you to live up to some arbitrary standard they come up with. And it'll be a statewide standard. That's the real kicker. It has nothing anymore to do with your local unit of government. It's going to be a statewide standard. So
should make people furious.
Oh, it should.
Local control, local control, local control, and to have the state come in and supersede, citizens should be outraged.
Outraged. They shouldn't put up with it.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, we have another one, House File 2600.
This one's really bothersome. And basically what it does is it takes, last year the federal government passed a rule regulating mortgage employees of various parts of the organization, mortgage companies. And I understand that mortgage companies all screwed up, blah, blah, blah. So what they want to do is they want to give everybody who's a mortgage lender a personal identification. You individually, if you're a mortgage lender, you got a federal ID number, basically what they're giving you. There's a whole gamut, a long list of pages and pages of all this fine detail of how this organization's structure is going to work. 49 states passed it last year because it was a mandate. Minnesota didn't.
Good for Minnesota.
So I believe the Department of Commerce representative was there explaining that we have to pass this bill along with Mullery. And they said we have to pass it because the federal government is demanding it. And one of the Republicans said, well, excuse me, but don't we have a 10th Amendment that allows the states' rights? And the chairman goes, yes, we do, but okay, that's nice. Let's go on with the next vote. The part of this that disturbs me so much is in the testimony by the Department of Commerce representative said that they got notified by the federal government, I think in November they said. Now, this isn't quoting, it's just trying to explain as best I can, that they received a correspondence from the federal government saying either the state passed it this year, or the federal government's going to come in and seize the assets and property of the Department of Commerce in this area of regulating mortgage loan officers and that industry, and seize everything and run it themselves. Now, that is nowhere in anybody's constitution. That is nowhere in law. But that's what they're doing. They're presumption of the federal government to have the authority to come in and seize state property to do its own regulation. That's basically what they said. So it was passed. I think there was one dissenting vote, I think. And I believe there was like 6 Republicans on this committee.
This was in a committee hearing.
Committee
And you had one Republican vote to oppose.
If there was, I'm not quite sure if there was one Republican or nobody. It might have been nobody.
So nobody's looking out for us.
Not in this area.
Or the area before that we were just talking about as well.
Right, yeah.
Another reason the folks in 50A are so lucky to have Tim Utes running
I'm going
for House
down there.
of Representatives.
I'm going down there, and we're going to have some conversations, right? And I'm looking for people around the state we got to start replacing people at state capitol. Somebody's going to have, like Glenn Beck said at the CPAC convention a few weeks ago, we got people down with some spine who are going to stand up and say, I'm sorry, but we're done doing this. And there's going to be a cost. I'm not saying this is going to be easy. It's not going to be free. It's going to be very painful and very expensive. But the alternate is to keep going down this road. And we're going to be prisoners of the state, literally.
Tim Utes, if people wanted to find more information, what's your website? Where would they go?
TimUtesForHouse.com. Go on Google or any other search engine, just type in Tim Utes, and most of the time it pops up on the very top there. Because I got enough traffic now on my website that pops up. So
excellent, and a great website too. I love the updates that you put in there of what's happening over at the Capitol. People can find out every day almost what's happening over there.
But the best thing you can do is get off your butt and go down there yourself and get involved in the Capitol and sit in these committee hearings. Anybody can register to speak at any of these bills that are introduced. So they may say, well, but you don't have to say, well, no. You don't say, excuse me, I'm paying the bills and I'm going to talk and speak on this bill in a committee hearing.
It's amazing how many people don't go over to the Capitol. I wish more people would.
Staggers my mind.
Yes.
It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
We're too busy, like I said before, we're too busy going to Starbucks coffee, making sure our kids are in soccer. And we're paying a dear price of our liberty in so many ways, in so many areas of our life.
Exactly. All right, let's take a look at the next bill, House File 3237.
All right, this is back to what I said before. In our state constitution, Article 4, it says, laws to embrace only one subject. No law shall embrace more than one subject, which shall be expressed in its title. This is about, I think, 13 different bills that were combined together to create 3237 from what I understand, from what I read through it, from what I heard at this committee hearing, and it was unanimously passed because Republicans had legislation in here too. And my issue is it's illegal. In fact, there was a lawsuit apparently a few years ago. A bill was passed like this, and somebody didn't like one of the portions of the bill, and they filed a lawsuit and went in court, and it had to be repealed because it was included with other bills and when it was passed on the House floor.
Wasn't that the conceal and carry bill?
It might have been. I don't know which bill it was. Somebody had told me.
And so therefore we passed the conceal and carry bill twice.
But it's carry. It's carry. It's not conceal.
Correct.
It's not conceal. It's carry.
Correct. Thank you.
Just want to clarify that. Just like we have a constitutional republic, we don't have a democracy.
Very good. Very good. See, people have to watch the show to get educated. What did they include in that bill? You talked about the single subject.
Preferred drugs, health plans, claims against the state, long-term care, asset transfers, clinics, dental benefits, prior authorizations. They're bills that are unrelated.